Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Keith Osment podcast. I am Katie. Welcome back. We have some awesome, exciting news for you guys. But first and foremost, how are you, Keith?
Man, I told you earlier, as long as I got my orange cream, Coke Zero, guys, if you hadn't tried this, you gotta check it out. And then to wash that down, you got a Alani Dream Float.
There you go. Double whammy of the
Crazy.
orange cream.
So I didn't realize how much I liked orange cream. So apparently I'm the only one in the universe that likes these Coke Zero orange cream sodas because Allie hates them. Everybody I come across is like, I don't like that. I'm like, well, how the heck are they selling them? Kroger and Publix somebody's drinking them. It ain't just me.
Yeah, I've never tried but I like orange cream flavored stuff. But I've never tried the Coke. But yeah, we got some exciting news today, right?
I think so. We're gonna try to bribe you guys a little bit.
Yeah. What are we offering?
So of course, in our previous episodes, we've always encouraged you guys to rate the podcast and leave a review. So specifically on Spotify, maybe Apple, I think it gives you an opportunity to rate it and leave a comment. But more Spotify than anything. But for anybody that rates this episode and leaves a comment on this episode, I'm going to put you in a drawing to win a $50 gift card.
Heck yeah.
How cool is that? So
that is great.
If you live local, it'll probably be a Spartan Smoothies gift card. But if you don't live local, I'll hook you up with like a Visa gift card. I'm going to give it 30 days. So if you listen to this show, we'll probably drop this, on maybe the 26th or 27th. So I'll give it 30 days, basically till the end of June. And so by July the 1st, have all your comments, and I'm gonna do a little drawing and hook somebody up with $50.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah, just for rating it, sharing it, tag us in your stories, just trying to get the podcast out there a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think we provide a lot of cool information, and we just want more people to hear it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So give us a rate. Drop a comment that you did so, and we'll put you in a drawing for a $50 gift card, whether that's to Spartan or if you're not local, just a $50 gift card in general.
Heck yeah.
We would love that and appreciate that.
Well, cool.
You want to talk about some macros and some tracking the food and all that today?
Yeah, so today's topic is macros versus meal plan.
Yes.
Like, who's going to win? Who's going to win this battle?
I'm not sure. I think it depends on where the client is or where you are as the listener in your journey, which would be most beneficial for you. But I think there's a little bit of pro to each and there's a little bit of con to each. So let's get right in it.
Yeah. So I think, a lot of people have heard of macros, and they've also heard of probably if it fits your macros. And I guess before we get too deep into like the pros and cons of each one, let's do like a little like nutshell version of like what macros are.
Yeah.
So macronutrients,
the protein, carbs, and fats.
Yep.
So the big three.
Yep.
Proteins, carbs, fats.
That's it.
If it fits your macros, tracking your macros. It can be helpful for losing weight.
Yep.
But basically just the big three.
Yep.
Protein, carbs, fat.
Yeah, and if you got if you got a bucket and that bucket represents like your body and total calories, you can fill that bucket with amounts of each macro, like proteins, carbs, fats, like it's all, none of it's inherently bad or good, but you got to have them all to kind of have a good balance of everything.
Absolutely.
And there's a couple of different ways you can do that to create balance. And some people like tracking macros. Some people hate it.
What do you like to track macros?
Currently, yes.
Okay,
that's where I evolved through the years. I track 90% of the time. Still to this day, I believe Allie does. She's kind of a hybrid. She not only does she follow a pretty rigid meal plan, but she also tracks. She likes to see that visual.
Yeah.
Keep her on point.
I'm kind of in that same boat where I'll do like a weekly meal plan for myself when I'm planning groceries and then track it just to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think tracking macros can be helpful. I think it can also be a window to make some not so good decisions too.
Yeah. So like macros, we'll start with that. Some of the macro pros, like the pros to it, is definitely more flexibility, right? Like.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because all food can fit. So like anything can fit for your macros if you make it. You know what I mean? So it can give you more flexibility in your diet.
Because I'll have people all the time ask me if a certain food's good for fat loss. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, any food's good. Like,
Yeah,
you can make it work.
There's no
Like,
inherently bad food.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about moderation.
Right.
And then, you know, tracking your macros does allow you to personalize it a little bit more and tailor it to your individual needs and goals. I personally like to track macros. I mean, you got to make sure you get enough protein either way, too.
Yep.
But I do think that it can kind of be like intermittent fasting. We talked about this on the previous episode,
Right.
where it can be a window of opportunity that's not so good opportunity, but there's no inherently bad food. There's no inherently good food for fat loss. It's kind of a mixture of all of it.
Yep. So speaking of flexibility, one thing that I can, you know, as far as like somebody other than myself, is like I had a guy one time that lost a bunch of weight, and he was able to eat a Snickers bar every day.
I'm telling you, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So he tracked it. You know, he knew that a Snickers bar was 250 calories or something like that. So he just made it work, and he loved it like that. He loves Snickers bars, and that actually kept him from you know, a lot of time, I guess, binging, you know, because he was able to get that fix every day.
Yeah, that's what I do with Yasso bars or something.
Yes.
You know, I will pencil those snacks in, and they do keep me on track more so.
Yeah, so that's definitely a pro. More personalization. So I guess that goes kind of, you know, whether you want to tailor it for, you know, weight loss or muscle gain or maintenance, you can kind of shift the stuff around a little bit in your favor.
Yes,
depending on what your
that's
goals
something
are.
I do with my clients who I do give meal plans. You know, we're able to tailor their macros along the way as their goals change. You know, so they'll come to me and they'll want to lose a little bit of body fat, and we'll do that for a few months, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to put some muscle mass on. I want to be able to eat more." So yeah, it's easy to adjust the macros to fit different goals.
Yes. One thing I do like about tracking macros is that you do build awareness.
Yes.
So like once you start looking at labels, and once you screw up a few times, you're like, okay, you know, you learn that, hey, I can't eat that like every day. You know, you got to shift some stuff around, you know, so that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, and I think it gives you a better understanding of the quantity. We always talk about peanut butter and the 2 tablespoon serving, so that gives you a better understanding of the quantity of food you're putting on your plate. I think macros are great.
Yeah, so like she just said, like, you know, if you're just eating healthy and you're just kind of, you know, or a meal plan, you don't never get to truly, you know, test that whole, hey, measure out a you know, what a tablespoon of peanut butter looks like, or a certain amount of grams on a scale. Like, it's crazy.
So, but I do think it's a good way to create sustainability long term, and like you said, it's an easy way to be able to drag and drop things, you know, like change things up. But I do feel like tracking macros has some cons to it as well.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of complaints I hear is it's time consuming.
Yeah. Can be very time consuming. I'm looking at what I'm going to be meal prepping next week, and I'll go through my Fitness Pal and be plugging everything in, you know, so it does take some time. But at the same time, I do feel like if you're at a point where you're serious about your goals, that looking at it over the course of a week, is it really that much time?
Yeah, and you know, you got to keep in mind too, like when I always tell people when they make that transition to tracking macros, like inside MyFitnessPal or whatever, like, yes, initially it's going to take some time to build up your library of foods.
Yes.
All right. So, but the cool thing about these apps is the more you use it, the more it learns you and your foods, and it shows up a history.
Yes.
And you can also start saving meals inside the app. So, like at this point, I very rarely have to like build anything from scratch.
Same
Does that make
here.
sense? Like it's all there. I can save meals. I can copy and paste to the next day.
Yeah.
Like it's like my smoothie, for example. It has like 12 ingredients. Do you think every morning I'm gonna sit there and manually input 12 ingredients in my tracker?
You're gonna swap right to add to the next
Just
day.
copy and paste the next day, boom and done, or save it as Keith smoothie or whatever, and it's just there in my library. So
I could see how it would be time consuming if this was something you did every day,
Yeah.
you know, and you were trying to change things every single day.
For sure.
So like if you're trying to stick to the same similar types of food, it can be helpful. But if you're doing something different every single day, every single meal, this can be time consuming.
Yeah. For sure.
Potential for obsession. I think about my mother, Scarlett Gasaway. She likes to track macros, but I can see sometimes where it's starting to become a little bit of an obsession for her, and then she's kind of just frustrated at that point. So for myself specifically, when I'm tracking macros, I try to get close to my calorie goal.
Yeah.
And I really kind of just pay attention to the protein I'm putting in every meal.
Yep.
And then I just play with the rest of it. It usually falls within 10 to
Yep.
15 grams. I think if you're getting within 10 to 15 grams of your macros when it comes to carbs and fats, you're probably doing okay.
I agree. Like it's it's okay to have like a little bit of obsession. I think that's what makes you really good at it. But like I have some clients that will be messaging me like at 9 o'clock at night saying, "What do I do? I don't have but like 27 carbs left. I've already hit my fats and I need this much protein." I'm like, "Look, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like just eat whatever you want to eat and just know that it's okay if you go over on carbs and fats a little bit. It's okay if they fluctuate. Like you just said, they're going to I tell people to use the carbs and fats as like bumper guards.
Yes.
They're going to fluctuate each day. The most important ones is total calories. And even those, give yourself some wiggle room.
Yeah.
Some days you may be under your target a little bit by like 100 or so, and some days you may be over a little bit by like 100. I like to give like 100 calorie-ish breathing room either way. But the one that I think you'll agree on that you need to hit minimum every day is that protein.
Yes.
That's like the do or die.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people don't know this, but it's really what you're doing over the course of the week that makes a difference. So if you're under your calories by 100 one day, if you're over by 100 one day, over the course of the week, you're probably going to break even.
It balances out.
But definitely make sure you're hitting your protein goals. But
for sure, that protein's the most important.
Absolutely. But I can see the obsession thing. It reminds me of our conversation last week on the episode about cardio, becoming obsessed with it, and then they just throw in the towel completely.
Yeah.
And it's just over. So I think, you got to commit to it, but don't become so obsessed with it that you just give it up entirely.
Correct. Requires knowledge.
Yeah, so beginners can find this overwhelming. I always think of when my food app that I'd used for years got discontinued.
You had to learn a new one.
I had to learn a new one. I was so frustrated, and I'm not new.
Right.
I've done this for a long time.
You're right. The same thing happened to me. Whenever I'm in a position where I have to learn a new piece of software, I'm then reminded of what sometimes people can go through.
Yes, it's a good reminder of what it's like to be new to tracking.
Just know that it's worth it. It's a skill. All right. So like, you're not supposed to just open it up and know how to automatically use it. It's going to take figuring it out, failing, playing around with stuff, entering into some areas of the app you're not even sure what the heck it's doing.
I think just in general in this, you should be aware that it's going to take practice.
Practice, yeah.
Across the board, with weightlifting, with cardio, with everything, it's going to take practice and the intention and the will to want to learn something new. But you're not going to feel the way you feel about it forever. No. The more you practice, the better you'll get at it. And guess what? I'm great at MyFitnessPal now.
Yes.
I'm still learning things about it though.
Yeah.
Like you told me about adding the calories in for the workouts. I didn't know you could turn that off at all.
It comes automatically with its own, yes.
Yeah.
And another thing that I found that a lot of clients will accidentally have on is they'll only be tracking net carbs.
Yeah.
They'll have net carbs on.
Yeah.
So they'll be getting in like 500 carbs a day, but net carbs only shows like 150, and they think they're good. And it only reflects total calories off net carbs, and they wonder why they can't lose weight.
I bet they felt really good though. I love some carbs, but definitely pay attention to the little, pieces of the app that you're using. But I can see how it would. I mean, it'd overwhelm me, and I wasn't brand new to it. I can't imagine starting brand new. But the thing about it is, you're never going to get better at it if you don't practice it. So
it's just like, think about the first time you tried to ride a bicycle, or when you started driving or learning a manual. Stick shift in a vehicle.
First time I ever said the F word in front of my mom, ever. But yes.
So, can you imagine, just getting in the car for the very first time and being like, no way, this is not for me. I'm done with this shit. Could you imagine? You just, decide you're going to walk everywhere or never just learn how to ride a bike or whatever.
It sounds silly when you put it in different terms, when you think about it. It's like, that's pretty silly. So, don't throw in the towel just because it's frustrating at first. You have to break through and you have to keep practicing, and then you'll get better at it. I promise, if I can do it, you can do it. If Mama Gaz can do it, Scarlett Gazaway, my mom, can do it, y'all can do it.
I consider macros in tracking food and having building that awareness is a skill. And to me, just from what I've seen, maybe not everybody, but 90% of people, once they hone in on this skill, it's truly what can create some freedom.
Yes.
Freedom, with everything that you've ever struggled with in the past as far as not knowing, spinning your wheels with weight loss or muscle gain, once you take the time to learn this skill of tracking macros and building that awareness, it can truly create some awesome freedom.
Yeah, and guess what? You don't have to do it forever.
Right.
I could probably plan every single meal right now,
Right.
never track
Same
again,
here.
and either build muscle or lose
Yeah.
body fat, because you get a better understanding of it, and you continue and you practice, and you'll see what the quantity of the food
Right.
looks like on your plate. So just invest in that, invest in learning it, and then remember that
Yeah.
you're not going to get better at it if you don't try.
Because you know what approximately what a portion of chicken looks like.
I do.
You know what it takes volume wise to get in so many calories and how much 30 or 40 grams worth of meat, because you've done it so long. So very cool.
It can be frustrating in the beginning just because it's overwhelming. So just don't give up on it. Keep trying. But inconsistent results, self-reporting. So if you're leaving out the little snacks you're having at the end of the night, that could be why you're probably not losing weight when it comes to tracking macros.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of this. I even made a little Instagram about it a while back. I was like, I've been tracking macros for 15 plus years, and I'm not afraid to admit ... And I made a list of things that I call myself out on, and that's for example, I'll be tracking all day perfectly, and then I'll get home and then I'll be cooking my dinner, and then while my dinner's cooking, I'm nibbling on snacks, little treats, or heck, it might not even be treats. It could be the actual meat that I'm gonna eventually weigh out.
Yeah.
And I'm literally, it could honestly sometimes add up to 200 calories.
Yeah,
that I'm snacking on, and I don't log it. I'm just in my mind, oh, it didn't happen.
I'm in the same boat with my overnight oats because I put peanut butter in my oats, and I'll be in there just dipping the spoon and eating out of the jar while I'm prepping my food. So those are little things that you're not tracking that add up.
But like she just said, is that little incident totally derailing us? Most of the time, no. But if you are on a macros tracking journey and you are struggling to hit certain goals, whether it's weight loss or whatever, that's the stuff you need to have a true conversation with yourself in the mirror and be like, am I logging everything? Am I weighing my foods? Or am I just doing a lot of guessing, estimating? Because usually when a client or somebody tells me they're tracking to a T and they haven't lost weight in over a month or two, and they promise they're at X amount of calories and they should be in a deficit, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. I mean, I promise you're not a special human that defies the laws of energy.
That's what I'll see in the scans too. It's oh, I'm not even eating that much. That's how much I need to be eating. I'm not eating that much.
I know.
Somewhere you're eating too much, and let's just face it. I mean, there's no shame in admitting that that's what's wrong, but it's what you do from there that makes a difference. So there's no shame in it. But let's change something, and just remember, nothing's going to change if you don't change anything. So maybe it's time to start trying macros.
That's it. Let's see. So we're on to meal plan pros.
Yes, I think this is great. If you're somebody who needs to lose a good bit and you need some structure, and you're somebody who's never tracked a day in your life, you've never really cooked for yourself, you eat out every day, buying a meal plan or getting a meal plan for somebody or coming up with a meal plan yourself could really help you, I think.
I agree. For a beginner, if that's one of the questions I ask somebody before I start working with them, hey, have you ever worked with a nutrition coach, or do you know a lot about nutrition? Do you have any tracking experience? Do you know how to put together a well-structured, balanced meal plan?
Yeah.
And if their answer is no on all those, then I suggest doing a meal plan for the first phase. Whether that phase is 30 days or 90, learn what a well-structured plan looks and feels and tastes like.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps you set up a routine, and you kind of get used to that. You don't have to make any of the decisions.
Yeah, it takes the guesswork out.
Takes the guesswork out of it.
And I've learned that a lot about people too. They'll be open to tracking macros, but then they get that choice anxiety. Mm-hmm. It's just too much to choose.
I can relate to that.
Depending on your personality, some people don't do well with having all the choices.
Yeah.
It's just too overwhelming. Mm-hmm. They like to just keep it honed in to just either a meal plan. And when I say meal plans, it doesn't even have to be a rigid meal plan. You could set it up to where, what if me or Katie gives you a meal plan, but gives you 4 or 5 options for breakfast that you enjoy, 4 or 5 options for lunch, 4 or 5 for dinner. Here's your snacks you can choose from, and then you're more welcome to choose any green you want.
Yeah.
As long as it's a certain amount, like 1 cup or 100 grams. Then you have some freedom. So what's cool is within that meal plan, you kind of have some freedom and some parameters to work within, to where it doesn't feel so like rigid.
Yeah, and
But-
that's
yeah.
how I'll start with my clients too. I'll make them a meal plan, but I'll have
Yeah.
them start tracking it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then they get a better understanding of what they can drag and drop into
Yes.
it. You know what I mean?
That's
But
it.
I think a meal plan does help you control your calorie intake a little bit more, and I think just not having to guess what you're eating is
Yes.
going to help you. If you're
Huge.
feeling overwhelmed in this at all, this would be the choice I would make.
That's it. So yeah, you learn a lot through meal plan too.
Yeah.
If you have never tracked before.
Yeah, never tracking, but I would want to have them start trying to track what I created for them, just so
Yeah.
that later on, I don't want them
Yeah.
to have to need me forever. I
No.
want to teach them everything I know, so they can be
Right.
they can sustain it forever.
Yes.
But that is the pro, is you don't have to track, but I would be practicing
Yes.
so that when it came time, you could drag and drop and fix whatever you wanted to. But it does cause you to relax a little bit more and focus on the flavors you enjoy and everything like that.
For sure. All right, what else we got? What's next?
Convenience. Well-structured meal plan can streamline the grocery shopping and the meal prepping.
It really
It just
can.
makes it easier,
Yeah.
and it reduces the food waste, because I don't know if you saw my Instagram story.
Yeah.
I made like 8 meals of that turkey stew, and I had to throw it all away because it wasn't good. So
Yep.
that would have been something that, which, having a meal plan, I probably would have prepped that a little better and wouldn't have
Yeah.
made mistakes. So it was frustrating.
And trust me, I get it. Like a lot of times I forget, like when you tell, whether you're doing macros or a meal plan, you tell somebody, okay, this meal plan is going to have chicken, lean ground beef. A lot of times the question I get that I have to remind myself is, they'll ask me, well, how much do I need to buy?
Yeah.
How many pounds of meat or how many chicken breasts? I'm like, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So I try to like give people now, like, if they're really busy and they can only dedicate like Sundays to go grocery shopping, I don't want them to have to go back to the store like 4 times that week because they're not buying enough meat to get through,
Yeah.
4 or 5 days. So I try to tell them now, hey, your meal plan includes a good bit of chicken. You may want to go ahead and grab like 2 6-packs.
Yeah. Yeah, or if you're eating 4 ounces of chicken per lunch per
Right.
day, and you're
Right.
prepping for 4 days, just get a pound.
Yeah, get a pound.
So you
Yeah.
think about the math on it.
The math.
That's a great idea. Just make sure you don't have to keep going to the store over and over.
Yeah.
Just try to buy all
And
of
at
it
the same
at
time,
once.
yeah, you don't want to cook too much. You don't want to batch cook too much meat, and then like it start getting all smelly and
Yeah.
funky.
Yeah. So there's a sweet spot.
Yeah,
Fun.
so and a lot of that, honestly, guys, just going through it.
Yeah.
Like, God forbid, like, even if you did, a lot of that is the beauty that we call the school of hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of that is the process. That is going through the BS to learn and get better. That's with everything.
I mean,
that's part of it. Like,
I'm a veteran at this point, and I still messed up last week.
Right.
So, I mean, it
Yeah.
is continually learning. So you got to just accept that you're going to mess up sometimes.
yeah, and you may have to go back to the grocery store that first week once you get on a plan. But guess what? You're going to learn. You're going to learn.
I recommend keeping stuff in your freezer as well.
Yes.
So like keep a pack
Right.
of chicken in your freezer, keep a pack of turkey or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
That way, if things go south and you don't have the time, you have it in your freezer.
Just thaw it out.
Thaw it out, cook
Much-
it. It's not what you necessarily wanted at that time, but you
Right.
got something to stay on track and you have a plan, because that's where most people fail, is there's not a plan in line.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what's helped me. It was, last week I messed up really bad, but I had myself prepared, and I was still successful last week with my food.
Yep, and I've actually, the past 2 weeks, I've had to plan and prepare more than I've had in a long time. Like, I've been doing a really strict meal plan because I have a photo shoot coming up Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's like I haven't been doing like macros. I've been following like a real rigid meal plan, and it's required me to like cook at certain times of the night when I didn't really want to cook, because I knew that if I didn't cook, I wasn't gonna be able to prep my meals for the next day. And guess what I was gonna do then?
You gonna roll
Probably
through some
roll
drive-through.
Chick-fil-A, bro, and get me a something else, And I was like, I can't go out like that.
Yeah.
I done came too far, so I'm up at like 10 o'clock at night cooking my chicken, stuff like that. So yeah, planning. What does that say? I'm failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite sayings. So it does take time to, whether you do macros or meal plans, you're gonna have to put in some effort somewhere through the week.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, meal plan cons. I think just the lack of flexibility would be an issue
Yeah,
here.
for sure. And like I said earlier, there's like two different types of meal plans, in my opinion. Meal plans like that Allie or a competitor or yourself
Yeah.
follow, like for a contest.
Yeah.
Those, and unfortunately, you see a lot of that still in the coaching space. When you have people that get hooked up with a coach, and it's just like black and white, no options, no swaps. It's like, eat this chicken, broccoli, and rice every day, and I'll see you again in 30 days. Like, that's pretty rigid. That's
Yeah,
not,
and that's why you can't be successful.
yeah, and it's just these kind of copy and paste like meal plans, and it's like, okay, that's good for like competitors and stuff. And trust me, I did it back in the day. I mean, I had a guy when I first started getting into meal planning and stuff. He just gave me this print off. It was before like social media and internet and stuff, and it was a black and white paper like this, and it was just like, and I don't even think he even took the time to really figure out how many calories I needed. It was just like 200 grams of protein. Just eat your egg whites, your broccoli, and your chicken.
That's
and your oats.
exactly my first trainer too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'll see you in 2 weeks for your weigh-in. I'm like, okay, and I did it, and it was not fun, but I got results. But
Yeah.
I learned from it. I think it's important to go through all the phases. But me and Katie's here to tell you that you can set yourself up to where you can enjoy a meal plan with the swaps. Like I said, the way me and Katie do it now is we give you 3 or 4 options for each meal, give you some parameters to work within. Like, I don't say eat just broccoli. I say choose any green you want.
Leafy greens and this much of them.
Yeah, and like if you get to a point where like you're getting tired of rice, well, shoot, man, let's swap it out for some
taters.
Sweet potatoes. And that's another question. He's like, what kind of potatoes? I'm like, hey, what do you want?
Any.
Like, what do you want? What are you craving? Do you want some oven fries? You want some boiled potatoes? You want to make your own mashed potatoes? And we can use some Greek yogurt as like the sour cream, and
Yeah.
put a little turkey bacon bits on there.
Yes,
Make some
yum.
Taters and
I'm hungry now.
man, no kidding. See, we can have fun with this.
Yes,
And
you can really make it, flexible so that you're not getting bored or craving anything else.
No, like,
you can
you
make
should-
it fit, and you can offer yourself versatility in very simple ways with seasonings and all those things.
I'm all about, like, I love food, and I think you should enjoy your meal plan.
Absolutely.
Like, really enjoy it. Like
You shouldn't feel like you're missing out.
Yeah, it's not going to be sustainable if you don't enjoy what you're doing.
No, it's just like the gym. If you are doing workouts that you absolutely hate, then you're not going to want to work out. Same thing with food. If you're eating foods that you do not enjoy, you're not going to be able to stick to that
Nope.
at all. I remember Doug giving me, my bodybuilding coach giving me, it was like ground beef and rice for breakfast. I told him, I was like, I can't wrap my brain around not having breakfast food for breakfast.
I know, crazy.
But it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be super restrictive. In fact, the people that you see that are the most successful in this industry, they're not restricting. They're enjoying the foods they love. They are just practicing moderation and delayed gratification.
Yeah, like, I mean, sometimes I have breakfast for dinner.
Yes.
Sometimes I have steak and grits for breakfast.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
It is really good. You should try that.
That sounds great.
That is beautiful.
I think I'm going to try to do some sort of like breakfast bowl with turkey this morning when I get home. But that does sound good. Steak and grits.
Steak and grits.
I'm all about
maybe
some
have
grits.
like a little half English muffin toasted.
Ooh, yum. So another like con to the meal plans would be that it doesn't fit the individual needs. So like allergies, specific nutritional needs, and then just like the general dissatisfaction with certain with certain foods.
That's it.
So I like to tailor mine to each person,
Yes.
even to the grocery store that they're
Right.
going to, because I find that can be problematic with clients too, is
True.
that they can't find the product that I've listed,
Right.
and it's because they're at Kroger, not Walmart.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You're
you have
right.
to be super specific, and I do that with my clients. So I'll ask, where do you shop?
Where do you shop?
So
Yeah.
I need to know where you shop so that we can make sure you know exactly what to get.
You're right. It can be pretty different from Walmart to Kroger to Publix. Just like I love the Joseph's pita flax, bread things that you can make like flatbread pizzas out of, but you can't find those anywhere but like Publix.
Yeah, I was about to say I've never seen those.
Yeah.
So everything varies from grocery store to grocery store. So it can be tough client to client depending on where they shop. But I always try to base it on where they're shopping. But I always ask them about allergies.
For sure.
I always ask them even about like if you hate broccoli, I'm not going to make you eat broccoli.
Yeah.
So that's very important, is to make sure you like the foods you're eating and that they fit your individual needs.
Another thing you can do too is ask them if they utilize stuff like Instacart for like pickup or whatever wherever they shop. You know, sometimes the Kroger app has pickup, and a lot of busy moms do that. And this may be an idea for you. I haven't done it yet with any of my clients, but there's a couple coaches I know that will actually get the password for their clients' shop app and log into it and go ahead and build their shopping cart. That way, all they got to do is hit submit.
That is so great. Yeah,
pretty cool.
That is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about before, I've thought about going grocery shopping with people before.
Yeah.
I mean, because it would just be so helpful for them, you know. Because if you're trying to meal plan over the course of a few days, it's always helpful to understand how much you're needing to get.
And when you've talked about doing stuff like we want to do a cooking show one day. We're gonna
That would be
just
fun.
find a kitchen to do it in. You know,
I think we need to wear the white hats, like, you know, that would be hilarious. But yeah, I think you know, just in general, people just need to understand food a little bit better.
Yeah, that, and like my biggest thing is like maybe not us do like elaborate recipes, but like show people how to batch cook, be more efficient with it.
Yes.
And then like some of our favorite like appliances. I know me and Allie, you know, we love the rice cooker.
Yeah.
We got the air fryers. We got the crock pot for certain things. We got our little fancy potato slicer. Like,
y'all got Jack and Jill air fryers, from what I hear.
Yes.
Air fryer's great. But yeah, I think too, you know, nutritional imbalances can be an issue here. I think when we think of even with macros, we don't think about the micros.
I know. Yeah.
And so you can think that you're doing good by eating a protein bar at every meal. I can promise you're not.
No, it's not like if you know, a protein bar occasionally is okay, but like I'm so surprised how many grown men I come across that truly want to get stronger and build muscle, and they're just having like a protein bar for breakfast.
I
I'm like,
not.
A, that's like not technically like real food, and then B, it's only like 280 calories and 27 grams of protein. I'm like, that's not going to happen, dude.
And then you're starving within an hour.
Yeah, and they wonder why they binge when they go out to eat with their coworkers or whatever for lunch.
If you look at the quantity of food you could really eat when it's like processed and not necessarily the healthiest,
it's crazy.
Versus, you know, a bunch of really healthy, good quality calories, you can eat so much more food.
So much more
if you're eating whole food.
And
so that's kind of the point, you know.
Yeah, and you probably hear this a lot. Like once you give somebody their new plan, they're like, "Oh my God, that's so much food." Like
that's what you want, right?
Like, like when you're eating like 1,600 calories or whatever it is, you know, for a female from like real like good like food choices, it can be a more volume.
Yes.
It can seem like a lot.
The quantity of food is a lot more if you eat whole food sources. And again, the nutritional, you should be eating for like your nutritional health too. So it's not just about the way you look. It's about the way you feel too. And there's so many things that go on inside your body aside from the way that it looks on the outside that we should still be concerned with things like the macros the vitamins and the minerals and things like that. Like you should be eating for your health too.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
a fine line between the two.
It's possible to build a balance of both macros and macros, and it comes with time.
Practice.
Like I think we've agreed that if you don't have any experience doing any of this, start off with a meal plan that you enjoy, and then transition into tracking and building that awareness. And then when it's all said and done, you're going to know that, hey, as long as like 75-80% of my calories are like whole foods, I can splash in a freaking Snickers bar.
Yes, exactly.
You know, whatever. Like,
and if that's what's keeping you on track for those other really whole sources of calories, then great. Have your Snickers bar.
And, you know, just about the awareness thing, like, I think I talked about this a couple of episodes ago, but like, I keep harping on my buddy that's stuck at like 300-something pounds for the past couple of months because he refuses to take the time to do this. Like, he started off just cleaning things up. He lost some weight. And he sent me a picture of his breakfast, and he's got great intentions. And so many people do this, but I think I said before, it's a plate of like two pieces of smoked sausage and like 4 or 5 whole eggs. And he'll have a glass of orange juice. Well, I added all that up one day. I actually went to the store and bought some smoked sausage and weighed it out to the similar lengths that he was. So it was just 500 calories worth of smoked sausage.
It's really disappointing how much sausage, like how little.
Oh, it's crazy. The short links, like it wasn't but like 2 or 3 inches long, and then you factor in the 4 or 5 whole eggs, 70 calories each, and then he had a glass of orange juice, right? So 150, 200 calories. So in his mind, bless his heart, and if you're listening to this and you can relate, like this is your sign. Like if you're eating healthy and you're putting good intentions in, and you know, in his mind, he's doing low carb, right? Mm-hmm. Besides the orange juice, but
Yeah.
like you know, it's healthy to eat some eggs and some sausage that's relatively short and a glass of orange juice. That's not a very big meal. If you look at this plate, it looks empty, but guess what? All of that is over like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
Mind blowing, right?
Yeah. So I think people just need a better understanding
Yeah,
of
to where
quantity.
yes, to where if you got in tune with the numbers and started swapping some stuff around, you would then do what you just realized a while ago or said is like he could have so much more food if he swapped out like okay, keep 2 eggs but do like a cup of egg whites. Instead of doing smoked sausage, do like turkey. Bacon or turkey sausage links.
And then please have some carbs.
Yeah,
and
then have like a bowl of Greek yogurt with some blueberries through in there with some honey drizzled on it. Like you could have so much more volume, like dude, like for half the calories.
Yeah, it's like the client I saw this morning at Spartan. She kind of walked me through what she ate in a day, and she started with a very low-calorie breakfast, and then her, it wasn't that it was bad. It was just that there was no calories, and then she would go to work out, and she does CrossFit.
Ooh,
so she would go, like, I think she said 3 hours from the time she ate till she went to do CrossFit.
Yeah, that's not good.
And then she'd say she got home and could not stop eating. And I'm like,
no
well,
kidding.
you need a bigger breakfast and you need a bumper on your way to CrossFit. And I guarantee you probably see that subside for yourself.
Gosh, no kidding. Good job on figuring that out for her. Bless her heart, man.
Made me think of our sugar conversation about between our cardio and our weightlifting. I was like, you need to eat a Rice Krispies on the way to your gym sessions because you're killing it in the gym, and you have hardly any food in you at that point. You need to get you a little sugar in your system at that point.
Yeah.
Get you some carbs.
That's it. Let's see here.
What to choose and when.
Yep.
I like macros for myself.
Yep.
I think we should all probably get to a point where we're trying to understand our macros. We're trying to understand our calories. If you were brand new, never tracked a calorie, never cooked a day in your life, let's start with a meal plan.
Start with a meal plan.
And what I'm going to have you do is you're going to download MyFitnessPal and you're going to start tracking what I've written for you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get a better understanding of it. So I think it's kind of like this. If you're starting brand new, it's kind of you're going into it with a meal plan and then you're kind of coming out of it being able to track your macros and understand your calories.
Yep.
But I think macros are great for people who like variety, people who are a little bit experienced.
Flexibility and don't shut down from like choice anxiety. Cause, and see, Allie's like that. She actually, her coach, Doug, actually gave her macros this off season because she was telling him, hey, she would like to live a little bit, because her kids are in college and she wants to go out to eat and stuff like that. Yeah. But then once she got that permission, she freaked out.
That would make sense.
She's like, oh my gosh, like now that I can eat technically anything I want, my brain can't even function.
I remember coming out of prep and thinking like, what, I don't know what to do. What do I do now?
So I think she's good now. But I could see where, that might be a little overload. But usually macros are best for somebody that just wants a lot of flexibility.
Yeah. But if you can't trust yourself, then you probably need a meal plan. But I can see how that would be like totally shocking for her. But again, she practiced and now she's doing great, right? So she enjoys her little occasional going out to see Kara or going out to see Bose, so.
Yep, and another way this could play out too, and like another example, it would be like, say for example, if you had a female client that was on a kind of a meal plan but had been learning macros along the way and was learning that skill. And let's just say for whatever reason that day got crazy and she wasn't able to prep her lunch, but she knows just from being in tune with the numbers that her lunch is normally around 400 calories and 30 plus grams of protein. Well, guess what? She just swings through Chick-fil-A and gets a Cool Wrap. Yeah. And makes it work. So that's what's cool is she's confident now that in that one incident, that one pinch where she, the day was crazy. Kids might have got called in from school because he was sick or whatever. She could make it work and still technically be in her calorie and protein range.
Yeah, and that that would be what I would think would be the problem with the meal plan, is that, like, what if you get invited out? Like, this weekend's Memorial Day. Like, what are you going to do if you can't stick to your meal plan when you go to your parents' house to visit them at the pool? You know what I mean? So that would be where it would get hard.
And this is where, if you're a coach and you're not teaching your people, like, how to do this, that's when you're going to have about 30 people message you tomorrow night saying, hey, what am I supposed to do tomorrow?
What do I do now?
We got a cookout.
Yeah. So I feel like tracking your macros is a good way to understand, what you can do when you're in a situation like that.
For sure. Fitness enthusiasts and athletes, I agree with that. Macros is really good for, like you said earlier, if you're really intense, like CrossFitter and stuff like that, I think you need to be in tune with, like, your carb and fat ratios.
Absolutely you do. If you're a competitive bodybuilder, absolutely you need to know what you're eating macro-wise. You're probably on a meal plan if you're bodybuilding, though.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really important for people who are in the gym. If you're in the gym 3-4 days a week strength training and you don't know about what macros you're getting in and you don't know if you're hitting your protein, you probably should.
Yeah, for sure.
Are we good over there?
I think so. Yeah, we're still good.
Okay.
Sustainability is good for macros, like long term.
Yeah.
Like,
and that should be the point.
Yeah. To graduate there.
Yeah. So you're looking. That's when people come to me and they come and get a scan. I always select the sustainable option for their, if they're trying to lose body fat, because that's what sets you up for success in the long term.
Yes.
So that 5 years from now, you either are, maybe you're wanting to build muscle at that point, but you're still able to say that you stuck to your results.
Yes.
It's the lifestyle changes that create the results that last forever.
For sure. Because that's the thing with, like, carnivore and keto and all that. Like, it's just, there's no learning along the way. You're just told to stick with these certain, like, rules. Like,
and then you're like me and Allie, and you get to the end, and you're like, what now?
Yeah, like, what do you do now after you're 4 months in the carnivore or 4 months in the keto? And yeah, you've probably seen some results, but, like, unfortunately, I would say, gosh, 80% of people gain it all back because they just don't know where to go. There was no true learning of skills along the way.
And guess what? The simplicity behind why you lost weight is just that you were in a calorie deficit, so you didn't have to do that extreme stuff. And when you don't do that extreme stuff and you lose it at a slow rate and you're learning how to build these skills and track your food and all these things, then you can do it forever.
Right. Like, I don't knock anybody. Like, if you want to use carnivore or keto as a way to get the ball rolling, that's cool. But during the process, you need to be learning some kind of skills and some kind of, like, what I call transition strategy.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, like, at the 6 month mark?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Exactly. I think it helps with knowledge around nutrition. So just understanding food labels, stuff like that. So,
for sure.
And
we talked about kind of like who would do best on a meal plan. This newbies, basically, needs that structure, for sure.
If you want to lose weight, yet you are completely overwhelmed by what to do when it comes to food, this would be a good opportunity to get a meal plan.
Yes. So
the structure, no decision making. You know what you need to go get when you go to the grocery store. You know exactly what you need to prep to eat. You know when to eat it. You know what to eat and when. Like, check all the boxes.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, just as a little bonus for this episode, because I appreciate you guys tuning in, I'm going to drop, like, an example, what I consider a well-rounded meal plan in the podcast description.
I think that's great.
It'll be probably around 17 to 2,000 calories. It'll be 150 plus grams of protein, and I'll show you what it looks like to kind of have a good balance.
Yeah, and that's a sweet spot with the calories and the protein. Like, that would say that's like 80% of the clients I see are probably about around those needs.
Yeah.
But this would also be a great opportunity for the listeners to use, map out that meal plan that you've, so graciously dropped in the comments, and kind of start playing with it and dragging and dropping their own stuff. So this could be a good base to start with.
Start with the base that we provide in this podcast, and just know that you got some wiggle room there, and feel free to reach out to us if you got questions.
Oh yeah. Like we said, newbies, people searching for structure,
dietary needs, deficiencies.
Yep. Anybody feeling overwhelmed with just the meals in general, but like for me, I have to stay away from gluten. So
yeah, exactly. So if you got gut issues,
no bread in my diet.
Right. You may need to do a more like meal plan type thing that works in or eliminates some of these foods that you have allergens to.
Yeah, I always ask my clients what what they might be allergic to or just what they don't like in general. But you can't put something somebody's allergic to in their
Right.
meal plan, so we definitely need to know about that. But,
Or like, you know, for example, if somebody comes to you or me, like, and they have like a lot of like inflammation, which that word gets tossed around a lot these days, or, you know, legit like issues, like, you know, for sure, like gut, like dysbiosis, like real gassy, like they're bloated, like you see it, like it's bad, like they have maybe some skin issues. At that point, yeah, I would probably start with eliminating gluten or dairy, maybe one at a time, because sometimes eliminating both gluten and dairy at the same time can be a little bit overwhelming
and sad.
and sad.
And very sad.
So yeah, just play around with it. Go for like 30 days with no dairy, and just see what happens. See how you feel. And if you don't notice a difference with that one, then you switch it to gluten.
Yeah.
Don't have gluten for 30 days and see how you feel.
Changed my life to cut out gluten, but I definitely have something going on with that.
And you knew. It's like this. You didn't decide to cut out gluten because you wanted to lose weight.
No, but hey, I will say having a gluten allergy I don't miss out on a lot because people equate that to low calorie.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of gluten-free options out there.
There is.
But they're super processed too, so something to keep in mind.
I know.
I'm fine with it though because I'm not a big pasta eater. I like bread,
Yeah.
but I'm not a big bread eater. So like I'm fine with the potatoes.
Same here. Like
Potatoes all day, all day.
yeah. Like the only thing I even eat that's got gluten in it occasionally is like some sourdough bread.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Everything else is basically because my oats, I get, of course, if you have an extreme gluten intolerance, you can get the sprouted, organic oats.
I do get gluten-free oats, and then just watching out for the malted stuff. But I can say that it made a difference for me. So if you need something, if you have specific dietary needs, that might be an opportunity for you to go for a meal plan.
For sure.
If you want immediate results, this can be a more straightforward way for you to get those results.
So if you have a competition or a beach trip coming up,
Or a photo shoot.
Yes. Like I said earlier, I'm doing a meal plan. I don't do meal plans. I haven't done a meal plan in over a decade.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 15 years. Sorry.
I think that speaks volumes. So the fact that you've not done a meal plan in that long speaks volumes because look at you. You're a success story. So.
Like, not to like brag, but like, I'm able to stay pretty dang lean year round, just doing macros. But like I said, it didn't start off like that. I had to go through all the phases. I had to learn what a good balanced like ecosystem looks like.
Yep.
I can eat kind of what I want on a day-to-day basis, but I know there's a handful of foods that I got to try to get in because it's got the macros, the micronutrients.
I think we should be in the pursuit of the macros. So
Yes,
like just
so-
throwing in the greens and the berries and, the smaller things like that.
As long as I got a couple of servings of berries, I got my, maybe some eggs splashed in through the week. I try to get a serving of like fatty fish, broccoli, my greens.
Yeah.
If I got all that kind of going there daily, micronutrients splashed in, dude, I might grab me a Snickers bar or a Reese's cup.
Heck yeah.
I'm
getting me a mega Reese's cup.
And sometimes I'll actually show that at the grocery store. I'll actually show that, hey, I'm shopping, and it'll show my buggy, and it'll be all like, quote, quote, healthy stuff. But to show people that I'm like real, I'll actually throw in a couple of Reese's cups.
Yeah.
Because I am eating those. And I'll eat one as soon as I get out the damn grocery store. I'll eat it before I get to my truck.
I'll eat it and then scan the wrapper at the register.
Right. I'm paying for this, ma'am.
I think it is so important to make sure you're including those indulgent foods, though, and I think that's what helps people stay on track. You know, you're eating that Reese's cup or the pack of Reese's cups, and that's what's helping you eat all of your macros and everything else because you look forward to that. But it's really important to make sure you're getting your macros. We don't want nutritional deficiencies, No. And I think you would know if you had a deficiency, you'd feel it.
Yeah.
I can tell when I'm not getting enough iron.
Yeah, iron and fiber. Drinking enough water, like all this plays a huge role, like in everything.
Let me ask you something. This is not necessarily in regards to our episode today, but I know when I am dehydrated, if I have not drank enough water, I almost feel anxiety.
Yeah.
Do you?
Being dehydrated can have a spiral effect on so many things.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, being dehydrated can cause you to not get as good a sleep, and then bad sleep can spark anxiety.
That's probably the boat I'm in right now. I did not sleep well last night, and I had a little bit of an anxious day yesterday.
So I drank more water yesterday than I have in my life because I'm water loading because I'm doing the whole water manipulation trick stuff. And I woke up in like a 90% recovery. My whoop was like, dude, you got some really good sleep.
Your whoop was like, whoop, there it is.
And
He's killing it.
Which is rare because I'm not really technically supposed to be recovering well because I'm such a calorie deficit right now. So to wake up in the green,
Yeah.
is like, okay, it's all that water I drank yesterday.
Yeah, so you probably feel really
So
great.
it's actually motivated me to
Drink
drink
more.
even more today.
Heck yeah, I got me, I don't know if I mentioned this either, probably not to do with this episode, but we talked about water. I got me a filtering system
Sweet.
at home. So
I love that.
I bring this in here because the stainless steel jug I have is like this tall
Yeah.
and it's really loud, but I've been getting better with my water too.
Heck yeah.
But it's really just
Yeah.
a mixture of all of the things into one. You're eating good, you're making sure that you are hitting your calorie goal, that you're eating enough protein, that you're getting your macros,
Yep.
that you're drinking enough water. You know, so
Yes.
if you can kind of do those things every day, you'll be doing good.
You were good. Anything else you want to add to this episode, Katie?
Please eat your fruit. It doesn't make you fat, I promise. You
Yes.
can eat a pound of grapes for 300 calories.
I know. Freeze them. You gotta get the cotton candy grapes.
I
They're
gotta
amazing.
try that. I gotta
They're
try
so
that.
good. They are so good.
But I think it's great. I think either way, whether you're somebody who wants to track macros or somebody who wants to track calories, I think either way you could be successful. But I think it just needs to align with your goals and your lifestyle, and it needs to be something that's sustainable that you can do forever.
I agree. And
Or kind of a little bit of the best of both worlds, like you, who's on a meal plan because you got a photo shoot, or like Allie, who's a bodybuilder.
Right.
You know, so I think just figuring out what your goals are currently and if it will fit with your lifestyle.
That's it. And like I said, y'all drop a comment, rate this show, and I'm gonna enter you in for a chance to win a gift card.
Yeah, that's amazing.
$50, be mailing it to your right to your address.
Oh yeah, and y'all come see us at Spartan 2, for sure. Get all your nutritional stuff
For
there.
sure. Well,
Grab
cool.
me a smoothie, get more protein. Is that you on the back? Look at this guy. The coolest.
So I accidentally printed this, and I was like, I'll just use the back instead of wasting paper. So yeah, that's the cover for my I think my MyFitnessPal training guide. So,
Yeah,
anyway.
I think it's cool. You conserve in some paper. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your photo shoot, let me ask you, that's Wednesday?
Wednesday,
Where
6
at?
o'clock, Lindale Mill Ruins.
I can't wait to see.
It's gonna be grungy. Like I'm gonna have some work boots on and have a sledgehammer, and I'm actually gonna bring some props and have fun with it.
Dude, I can't wait to see.
Old logging chain. It's gonna be kind of a like sledgehammer to concrete.
Raw and
sweaty,
masculine.
Think Rambo.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
That is so nice. I cannot wait to see.
We're gonna have fun with it. So.
I hope you have a great time.
Yep. Well, good deal. I guess by the time we record again, I would have done that shoot. So we'll catch y'all next week, and don't forget to leave the comment, rate the show, tag us in your story, screenshot us, and I'll even do that too if you want to tag us in your Instagram story.
Yeah.
That account is a entry for the gift card.
Heck yeah, we love that. Awesome. Well,
All right,
thank you for
guys.
having me again today,
Yes.
Keith.
All right, Katie. We'll catch y'all next time. See ya.